This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Stick around to the end of the video for a special offer they're making available through my channel. Spartans! Gamers! Did you play Big Team Battle this weekend? If you did not, holy shit, you missed out. For real, I spent the last 2 weekends playing Halo, and it was just so good to see a flagship title like that return to form in that way. Gives me all the right feels. If you're keen to hear more about that, I did an impressions video, link in the description below. But if you're just here for the gaming news, well, here it comes. Biggest story of the week is all that Konami stuff. Did you guys hear about this? Okay, let's start with the basics. Konami? Bad. Okay, now that we're all up to speed, let's talk specifics. For years, Konami has been holding in reserve some of gaming's most beloved IPs. I'm talking Silent Hill, I'm talking Castlevania, I'm talking Metal Gear. All of these incredible licenses utterly wasted on half-baked spin-offs like Metal Gear Survive, or fodder for Konami's insidious pachinko business. Konami has recently undergone a significant internal restructure with the aim of getting back into the core gaming business. Previous efforts to make stuff in-house have flopped spectacularly, so now Konami are broadening their approach to include outsourcing their IP to other developers. We've already heard about a Silent Hill game in the works at Bloomberg Studio, while this week a whole lot more leaked. This is an unconfirmed rumor at this point, but according to Video Game Chronicle, Konami are looking to revive both the Castlevania and Metal Gear franchises. The first cab off the rank will be a Castlevania game, which insiders are describing as a reimagining of the series. That word fills me with dread, but okay. It's in development internally at Konami, also not a good sign, but apparently it's supported by external studios. The Metal Gear project is apparently a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 in development by Chinese-based developer Virtuos. Virtuos have supported many other AAA projects in the past, we just don't see their name up in lights because outsourcing is something that most studios don't talk about, but these guys have worked on the Switch ports of Dark Souls Remastered, The Outer Worlds, and the Bioshock collection, while also contributing to titles like Battlefield 1, Uncharted 4, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Pretty good CV. That should hopefully prepare them well for the difficult task of remastering Kojima's masterpiece. Going beyond this, Konami have put out a general call for submissions from indie developers to make games based on their classic IPs like Gradius, Star Soldier, Twinbee, and more. I think most of the developers who will be making these submissions will be too young to even know what most of these games are, so they're going to have to look up some clips on YouTube. Most shockingly is yet another rumor that Hideo Kojima is working on a Silent Hill game. I'm so sick of hearing this, I feel like I've heard it 800 times now, but apparently, according to Gematsu, Sony is funding the project and Kojima Productions is making it. I don't know about this, it might be true, it might not. I won't be believing anything until Kojima himself shambles onto a stage wearing a pyramid head, takes it off and says, "Surprise!" Then I'm in. Before then, you'll get nothing but skepticism from me. If word of Konami working on a Castlevania game didn't sufficiently terrify you, allow me to show you a shot of the crowd from Konami's latest release, Efootball. I wish I could say that this was the only nightmare fuel that this game serves up, but Konami's recently released free-to-play football offering is chocked full of it. Every manner of bug you can imagine, this game's got it. Efootball is so bad that it is actually the lowest rated game on Steam, with just 10% of reviews being positive and over 16,000 reviews submitted. That isn't the lowest reviewed title of this year, by the way. That's the lowest reviewed title ever in the whole history of Steam as a platform. Predictably, Konami put out one of those JPEGs that are like, "Yo, we're really sorry, we'll fix it, we promise." But notably, they are still charging money for in-game items in what is clearly a very broken and incomplete game. Man, sports fans, whether it's EA, 2K, or Konami, you guys just always get such a raw deal. Alright, let's do some good news. Elden Ring. We all love Elden Ring, right? Sure we do. Well, guess what? It's still coming out next year. It's not particularly exciting news, but we'll take what we can get. In a recent interview with Famitsu, FromSoft confirmed that the title is in the final stages of development and that they were moving forward quietly, whatever that means. They wanted to provide some minor gameplay details, but they didn't give away too much, some tidbits about the map and summoning companions. They also said that they were confident that the game would meet fan expectations, but I don't think anyone had any doubts. While we're on the topic of hyped games, Yoshi P provided a brief update on the status of Final Fantasy 16, not 14, 16. During a Tokyo Game Show livestream, the legendary game director said that the main scenario of the game is now complete, and that side quests are still in development but are almost finished. Yoshi P said that the team was very small to begin with, since that was important to enable a lot of trial and error. Anyone currently playing Final Fantasy 14 is going to feel really comfortable about 16, knowing that Yoshi P is so intimately involved in this is like this reassuring security blanket, since this guy is genuinely one of the best in the whole business. There's no release window for this one yet, but the smart money is on some sometime toward the end of next year. Let's do some console news now. Kicking things off, I'm extremely pumped to see that xCloud has finally released in Japan, Mexico, and my homeland, Australia. xCloud has been in closed beta here for a year, but this week Microsoft flipped the switch, meaning that everyone has access to it, allowing you to play over 100 games on almost any device, including your PC. You can literally play console-exclusive Xbox 360 games on your PC now, thanks to xCloud, right through the Xbox PC app. I've long been a fan of xCloud because of its business model. You don't have to buy your games twice. It's an add-on service that leverages your existing Xbox library, but at the same time, you don't even have to own an Xbox or a high-end PC. You can play Halo Infinite on Xbox Series X hardware by streaming it to your phone or your tablet or whatever, and that's just awesome. I love it. Xbox are making all the right moves here. What about Nintendo's moves? Well, Nintendo are tricksy, at least according to a Bloomberg article they are. This week, Bloomberg doubled down on their earlier report saying that a 4K Switch was in development, only this time they claim that they've secured confirmation from 11 developers. 11! That is a lot, and unless this person is just completely lying out their ass and willing to tank their entire career, I think we can trust that this report is accurate. Nintendo are just about to release their OLED Switch model, and so of course they can't have these sorts of stories circulating since it would suppress demand for their new minor upgrade. As such, Nintendo took the rare step of issuing a public statement. Quote, "A news report on September 30th falsely claims that Nintendo is supplying tools to drive game development for a Nintendo Switch with 4K support. To ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers, we want to clarify that this report is not true. We also want to restate, as we announced in July, we have no plans for a new model other than Nintendo Switch OLED model, which will launch on October 8th, 2021, end quote." Okay, you know what? I believe them. I firmly believe they are not working on a 4K Switch model. I think they're working on the next Nintendo console, whatever that is, and this language here smartly sidesteps that possibility by referencing only a Switch with 4K support. As I said, very tricksy. For real though, the Switch is old. I mean, it was pretty underpowered when it first hit the market, but at the dawn of this new gen, this thing is feeling hella outdated. Interestingly, days after Nintendo made their denial, one of their approved patents became public. You know what it was for? Technology for AI-assisted 4K upscaling, similar to Nvidia's DLSS. What a coincidence. I don't think we're going to see a new Nintendo console next year, but come 2023, I'd be very surprised if we didn't. Alright, Sony news, a lot to talk about. First up, Bluepoint. You might remember that this was embarrassingly accidentally revealed earlier when Sony were trying to announce the acquisition of a different studio, but they put up the wrong JPEG. Super awkward day at work for that intern. I hope they pass probation. So yes, surprising absolutely no one, Bluepoint, makers of the Shadow of the Colossus remaster and the Demon's Souls remake, are now the official property of Sony. They're currently working on a new IP of their own creation, as well as the remastering of a fan favorite, but no one knows what that is yet. Some rumors did point to a Metal Gear Solid remake, but they've been shut down by this recent Konami news. My hope, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. I know it's not going to happen, but I like to dream, because dreams of the remake are probably all I'm ever gonna get, so just let me have this, okay? There was more Sony Studio news this week with a story from Video Games Chronicle reporting that the Twisted Metal series is returning, courtesy of developer Lucid Games, the folks who recently put out the very underwhelming Destruction All-Stars. Now, to be fair, that game was not good, but it wasn't like terrible either. Destruction All-Stars showed some promise in some areas. Developers do get better at what they do, so hopefully they can apply some of the learnings from the previous outing to make Twisted Metal all the better. The title is apparently a free-to-play game and will be released around the same time as the Twisted Metal TV show, scheduled for 2023. Here's something cool. Sony are rolling out free trials for select PS5 titles. Right now you can play up to 6 hours of Death Stranding Collector's Edition and 5 hours of Sackboy: A Big Adventure. If you like them, you can buy them and your progress and trophies carry over. If you don't like them, then you can just delete them from your machine and go about your day. Disappointingly, the timer starts when you begin downloading the game, not when you start playing it. Who thought that was a good idea? Anyway, I like this initiative and hopefully Sony will roll it out for more titles in future. Final piece of Sony news, Ghost of Tsushima won Game of the Year at the Tokyo Game Show. This is super weird because Ghost of Tsushima came out in July of 2020, but apparently the cutoff timings for that award made this possible. It's also kind of weird because it's a game about samurai made in the United States and getting a Game of the Year award from Japan. but I think it goes to show how much love, care, and respect Sucker Punch had for Japanese culture and history when they made Ghost of Tsushima. Quick tidbits to wrap up, looks like that GTA Remastered trilogy is real, since something called the Definitive Edition just got rated in Korea, and Bandai Namco have a new logo. And in these divided times, it's nice that everyone can come together and agree that this is the worst logo that anyone has ever seen. So what got announced or delayed this week? Not a whole lot, to be honest, but we did get a few announcements coming out of the Tokyo Game Show and elsewhere. First up, that weird-ass Final Fantasy game with the dude obsessed with chaos. That got a release date, March 18th next year, coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and the Epic Store. There's also a new demo available at the moment, I guess because the first demo didn't leave the best impression. That's a shame, actually, because I played that demo and I liked it because I'm a fan of Team Ninja's Neo-style combat. That new trailer and demo definitely show off a more visually diverse and appealing game, but the writing is... yeah, the writing is a lot. Take a look at this scene.
I offered myself to the darkness and prayed to become chaos, hoping some band of heroes would defeat me, and thus bring an end to this empty dream.
Bullshit.
That is a real scene in the game. I cannot wait to play through this whole thing. Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires is hitting all platforms next year on February 15th, and Monster Hunter Rise is finally making its way to PC on January 12th. Lone Echo 2, sequel to one of the best VR games ever made, is releasing on October 12th, exclusive to the Oculus Quest. But that isn't even the best Oculus VR exclusive releasing this month. That title goes to Resident Evil 4 VR, which is now confirmed to be releasing on October 12th. It's a bummer that the VR port for this seminal horror classic is only available on the Facebook platform, but them's the breaks. To be fair, I do own a Quest 2, and it is a very impressive piece of kit, so if you can look past the whole Facebook thing, it's definitely worthwhile. So, what came out last week? Well, first up is the turn-based first-person shooter Lemnis Gate, which hit all platforms and is also available on Game Pass. Really tough to find critic reviews for this one, to be honest, reflecting the fact that there's just not a lot of people talking about this one. Despite some very positive preview buzz, the marketing really failed to create an impression. Still, it's 87% very positive on Steam, which is an excellent result. Outer Wilds got its Echoes of the Eye DLC last week, and everyone has been spamming me, telling me it is a masterpiece that equals the accomplishments of the base game. I find that hard to believe, but so many people have told me, I guess it's true. I've not played it yet because I've been working on other stuff, but I will play it as soon as I've wrapped up my Far Cry review and my Battlefield impressions and all that AAA stuff. When all those hors d'oeuvres are out the way, we'll get to the main course, okay? The Eternal Cylinder arrived on the Epic Store, PS4 and Xbox One. Again, very few critic scores for this one, but the overall sentiment is very positive, with most reviews coming in at around 80. It's a weird narrative-driven survival game hybrid with creatures that look like they're all built in Spore, and I like that. Hot Wheels Unleashed released last week, and you absolutely love to see it. God damn, this game was fantastic. I reviewed this one, link in the description. This game is sitting at around 80 on Metacritic and Steam, but I feel like those numbers are soft. This is like a hard 85 to 90 to me. This is so polished, so well made, so much fun. For real, if you're looking for an arcade racer for yourself or maybe a gift for some kids or whatever, this is absolutely fantastic. Industria made its way to PC. This title was developed by a handful of people in their spare time. It runs for about 4 hours and was heavily inspired by both BioShock and Half-Life. Reviews are pretty solid, 76% mostly positive on Steam. Biggest release of the week was Amazon's New World, and whoa boy, has that been rough. You've no doubt heard that the game has sold spectacularly well, achieving upwards of 800,000 concurrent players on Steam. The only problem with those numbers is that most of those people were sitting in queues, as the server capacity was immediately capped out and remains so long after launch, with people having to wait upwards of 8 hours to get in. It really takes me back to those expansion launch weeks on my old WoW server, Blackrock, where an 8-hour queue was a pretty good day. Server issues aside, opinions on the game are pretty mixed, with the leveling experience meant to be particularly grindy, repetitive, and painful. Still, the endgame combat and PvP battles are keeping people engaged, so that's cool. Austin is playing through this one, so hopefully we'll get ourselves another one of those editor's choice sections very soon. And finally, FIFA 2022 came out, and I wouldn't mention it except that IGN gave the Switch version a 2 out of 10, and I am never going to pass up an opportunity to highlight just how much of a scam EA's entire sports lineup is. The Switch version is identical to last year's version, which in turn was identical to the year before that, which in turn was identical to the year before that. EA have sold FIFA 2019 3 times now. They just put a new label on it each time and charged you full price. It is astounding how little respect this company has for anyone who buys its sports products, and I never forget that, even when EA puts out bangers like Jedi Fallen Order or It Takes Two. So what's coming out this week? Well, first up, the Alan Wake remaster arrives for PlayStation, Xbox, and the Epic Store. I tried to review this one, but sadly, Remedy never got back to me, so I'm kind of bummed out about that. Still, plenty of reviews are pointing out the fact that Alan Wake has lost none of its charm all these years later. Hell Let Loose is a World War II shooter supporting upwards of 100 players on a single map. It was released on PC a while back to positive reviews, and it arrives on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles today. Jet the Far Shore is an indie exploration game arriving on PS4 and PS5. The reviews were released yesterday and they're pretty mixed, but it's also one of those exploration games, which means that they're always quite divisive. I don't know, I have this one installed on my PS5 and I do plan to play through it. One thing you shouldn't miss is today's console release of BPM, one of my favorite games of last year. Here's just a snippet of gameplay from my review. As you can see, it's a rhythm-based first-person shooter where you have to shoot in time with the music. It's incredible. It's really short and it's really simple, but it's fantastic, and if you have a few spare bucks laying around, I really recommend taking a chance on this one. It is literally Doom the musical, and I loved it. Wasteland 3 was another of my games of the year from last year, and it had some DLC since then. A new DLC titled The Cult of the Holy Detonation arrives today. Super Monkey Ball Mania arrives today on all platforms. Reviews up very positive, unsurprisingly. The biggest release du jour is Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. It's basically Smash, but with Nickelodeon characters like Ren and Stimpy and Powdered Toast Man and Reptar from Rugrats and April O'Neil from the Turtles. I really hope this doesn't suck, because Sakurai will have just revealed the last Smash character as this video is being edited. That's a bittersweet moment, so while we won't be able to look forward to new Smash reveals, hopefully we can get excited about new All-Star Brawl reveals. Far Cry 6, the big next one, arrives on the 7th for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I'm reviewing this one right now, so I can't say anything about it, but my review will be live 10 PM Sydney time tonight. If you don't want to have to worry about time conversion, because who does, don't worry about it. Just click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and I will personally notify you when that video is live. Now that right there is service. Finally, the most hype release of the week is surely Metroid Dread, arriving exclusively on the Switch on the 8th. Same day as the Switch OLED, by the way. Dread is the first new Metroid game in a long-ass time, and fans are absolutely salivating at the thought of it. All of the trailers to this point have looked fantastic. Nintendo are putting big marketing money behind it. Reviews will surely be out in the next day or two, so keep a keen eye out for those. Okay, it's time for this week's Put This On Your Radar, and if you've been paying any attention at all to gaming social media this week, you'd know there was only one game that was going to end up in this slot. This is Choo Charles, and it's the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. You play as a dude trying to make his way across the railroaded landscape. Your means of transportation, an old train that you need to upgrade as you progress along your journey. To fuel that hungry steam engine, you'll need to step out and collect materials. Sounds easy, right? Well, it would be, except for the fact that there's a giant spider train following you everywhere you go, like some sort of Thomas the Tank Engine mod for Resident Evil Nemesis. The game is from a solo developer going by the name of 2-Star Games, and I don't know about you guys, but I've seen enough. This is the creepiest shit I've ever seen. Give this guy Silent Hill, Konami. This guy knows what he's doing. Well, hopefully he does. I guess we'll find out when the game comes out exclusively to Steam early next year. I'll leave a link to the Steam page below. Be sure to give it a wish list, as this always helps out developers. Okay, sort of free stuff time, and it is genuinely, I think, the biggest week of sort of free stuff in the history of sort of free stuff. Absolute madness. Let's not waste any time. Epic kicks us off. Right now you can grab Grand Strategy Europa Universalis, but on the 8th that will tick over to PC Building Simulator. So while it might be really tough right now to find a GPU, you can at least pretend to build a PC with one. Thanks, Epic. Okay, so this is where things start to get wild. Twitch Prime is packing serious heat this month. If you have Twitch Prime, aka Amazon Prime, you can get 3 fantastic games included in that subscription cost. First up is Star Wars Squadrons, which when played with a VR headset and HOTAS is one of the best Star Wars experiences you can have outside of the original trilogy. There's Ghost Runner, the cyberpunk-inspired parkour game that got rave reviews all around. And finally, there's Alien Isolation, one of the best Alien games ever made, and one of the best horror games ever made, full stop. Each of these games need to be redeemed on separate platforms. EA Origin for Star Wars, Good Old Games for Ghost Runner, and Epic Store for Isolation. But Uncle Jeff Bezos will happily give you a key for all three so long as you sling him a few bucks for a month of Prime. That is a very, very good deal. Sony ponies, you're up. This month's PS Plus games have been revealed, and it's solid. On PS5, that newly released World War II shooter Hell Let Loose is free for you guys, not too shabby. For PS4 users, you can get hold of PGA Tour 2K21, yawn, and also Mortal Kombat 10, which is amazing. And can I just say, if you haven't played through the campaign of that game, then you are missing out on some quality, bloodthirsty soap opera, and you need to get in on that ASAP. PS Now is Sony's cloud streaming and download subscription service available in select countries. It does allow you to play PlayStation exclusives on other devices, including the PC, so that's pretty good. They just updated their monthly offering with another golf game, The Last of Us Part 2. Ooh, too soon? Too soon. Okay, let's move on. But yeah, you can get The Last of Us Part 2 and Desperados 3, as well as a smattering of other titles, including my favorite and Todd Howard's opus, Fallout 76. Thanks, Todd. Keep up the good work. Xbox, your time has come. Game Pass got its monthly refresh, and it's very impressive. Newly released turn-based RPG Astria Ascending is on there. The highly regarded 2D top-down slasher Unsighted is in there. Lemnis Gate is there, which I mentioned earlier. Marvel's Avengers makes its way to Game Pass, and I know we like to joke around about Avengers, but for real, this is perfect for Game Pass because while the end game is utter dog shit, the campaign in this game is actually pretty good. And while I haven't played the Hawkeye or Black Panther expansions, I've heard they're good too. This is your chance to experience the best parts of Marvel's Avengers and then just tap out without touching any of the endgame, and you won't feel like you've wasted your money. Great move here by Microsoft and Square Enix. The final Game Pass edition is very unexpected. Scarlet Nexus. This is an action RPG with some fantastic combat and world building. I didn't love the storytelling components, but everything else really popped. The game is a critic and fan favorite, a very devoted and appreciative fan base out there singing its praises, so definitely worth checking out if you're into that sort of thing. And Games with Gold. Man, I really shouldn't have finished with this one. It's a real anticlimax. You do get Castlevania, Harmony of Despair, and Resident Evil Code Veronica X, but these games are pretty old at this point. I mean, they're really old. There's also Aero, which is kind of like the classic Res, and Hover, which is kind of like the classic Jet Set Radio. I mean, these aren't bad games, but yeah, they're not exactly setting the world on fire. Still, I'd rather have any one of these games over PGA 2K21. So well played, Microsoft, you win this round. Our feel-good story for the week comes courtesy of everyone's favorite feel-good hero, Kratos, or more specifically, the man who voiced him, Christopher Judge. Just after God of War had won a player-voted IGN award of Best Game of All Time, let's not get into that now, please, Christopher Judge took to Twitter with an emotional reveal, quote, 100% in my feels right now. I need to be forthcoming. This has been approved by no one. To the beloved fandom, Ragnarok was delayed because of me. August 2019, I couldn't walk, had to have back surgery, both hips replaced, and knee surgery. They waited for me to rehab. No threats, no who do you think you are, nothing but love and support, and Sony Santa Monica has never said a word about the delay and what caused it. Studios are assholes, but this company from top to bottom should give us hope. He goes on to say that the rest of the staff were also treated spectacularly well, and he has nothing but love and appreciation for everyone at Sony Santa Monica and all the fans. So often we hear these stories of crunch and abuse and mismanagement and layoffs, and here's Sony Santa Monica rejigging the schedule of one of the most anticipated video games of all time to support one of their people. There surely would have been so many options that Sony could have taken to sidestep this issue, to speed up the release, but they put Judge first and waited until he was ready to come back, and I think that's an important example to shine a light on in this business. I'm more excited for Ragnarok now that I know that they treated their people well, and I was already pretty damn excited for Ragnarok. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the week in video games. We ran a little long this week as there was so much to cover, so if you made it to the end, thank you. And if you're a glutton for punishment and you want even more low-quality humor and lukewarm takes, then you can hit that subscribe button and ding that notification bell. I've got my Far Cry review coming out tonight, my Battlefield impressions after I've spent some time with the beta. Plenty to look forward to, and I'm looking forward to sharing it all with you. Thank you again for watching, and a big thanks to this week's sponsor, Squarespace. Can you believe that we are in October already? What the hell? With 2022 fast approaching, maybe you're thinking about mixing stuff up next year. Maybe you want to do more stuff with your local community. Maybe you want to start sharing things that you make with the world. Maybe you want to start your own business, do your own thing, be your own boss. Well, whatever it is you want to do, a website is probably going to help, and the best place to build a website is Squarespace. Squarespace makes it super easy to create professional-looking websites in minutes using its intuitive tools and its custom-designed templates. But that's really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what Squarespace can do. If you make stuff to sell online, or you provide a service online, or you want a place to highlight your best work so that people can book you, Squarespace has all the tools you'll need for that, including end-to-end e-commerce tools, appointment booking, and more. There's full social media integration, which means you can connect with your potential customers wherever they are, allowing them to see what you make or do with ease. And of course, there's detailed analytics so you can track how many people are viewing your website and what they're doing when they're there. Squarespace isn't something you need to work up towards. You can literally jump over there right now and start creating. It's super simple. So click the link in the description below, and if you like what you see and you want to get serious, visit squarespace.com/skillup for a 10% discount on your first purchase of a website or a domain name. Thanks Squarespace for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching it. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down so I know to do better for next time. If you enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing, and if you really enjoyed yourself, maybe consider hitting that notification bell so you never miss a video. You can see my patrons here on the left. They're awesome. They're amazing. If you want to join them, check out my Patreon page. Thank you again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.